Oh, welcome back to Burning Daylight Sports. I meant to make a intro video, but I didn't get that done. But I do have new intro music, and I, I'm honestly I'm really conflicted about this this damn AI music stuff because it's kind of cool, but it's also just like it's kind of too real. And
I was wondering when it'd kind of catch up with your age.
yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Um, but I put in, I forget what I'm trying to find the song that I put in, but it was after the Thursday night NFL game, which I gotta say, minus the kickoff rule, which I agree with you is dumb as fuck, but there were a few more returns than normal than as compared to years prior. So I don't know. I just it was weird, but that being said, the games that on Friday or Thursday and Friday were fucking bangers. Like the
Oh yeah,
Chiefs Ravens game was fucking awesome. Tight ends.
unfortunate, but awesome.
Yeah, that giant fucking toe from Likely from the Ravens
Golly,
costs
dude's got feet the size of Shaquille O'Neal.
fuck, dude. That I lost all of my bets off that one toe. But I had that game called to a T if his toe was a little bit smaller. Because I was in a group text with my college buddies and a bunch of guys were on the Chiefs, which granted you should be always on the Chiefs betting wise. They're solid. I mean, just
Not if you're like me. I never will.
say I don't
I
I
would
don't
have bet.
allow
I would have bet for University of Northern Colorado last week against CSU. That's
fair
how.
enough.
That's how little my bets, like how the real world matters. If I'm going to bet on football.
Yeah.
I bet against the teams I hate. I don't care if it's Alabama. I don't care if it's CSU. I don't care if it's the Chiefs. I'll bet on them to lose, and I'll bet on them to lose bad.
I respect that.
And sometimes I'll be right.
Yeah, that's true.
Eventually, I'll make all the money I lost back.
I see. I'm that way with college basketball. I don't follow basketball in particular, but I have a irrational hatred for Duke. Same way I have an irrational hatred for everything French. Like I
think it's
just
pretty rational.
fair enough. The French is more rational than my hatred of Duke. I have no reason to hate Duke. I just do. And I always bet on them to be out in the second round. And it worked pretty well for like it was like every other year that would hit. I always typically ended up last in the bracket, so it didn't matter at the end of the day, but at least Duke lost. Now on the betting football, I take emotion out of it for the most part. Like I do my emotional bets at like $2 a piece. But if I'm actually trying to win money, I throw the emotion out of it. I'll bet against the Broncos. I'll bet against the Rockies. I'll bet on the Chiefs and the Raiders. I don't even feel bad betting for the Raiders because I know they're not actually ever gonna do anything worthwhile. And if they're a good team to bet the spread against, or if they're covering for the year, fuck it, roll with them. I don't care. But yeah, there's certain teams that I like the Cubs. Even if the Cubs are heavy favorites, I just can't. I don't even like throwing them in a parlay.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Well, how how did we do college football wise this weekend? Because we were talking last week. There wasn't a whole lot of like real flashy games. There were some decent games. It seemed like K-State Tulane turned out to be a great game.
That was a really good game. I called that one. I said that was going to be a good game, and I was right.
So yeah, that my gut said there might be something there because I remember that Tulane was good last year, and K-State's scrappy. Like I don't really root for K-State, but I just got so many friends that went to K-State, and God, that is a diehard fan base. The K-State Wildcats. I mean, they are like on the verge of delusional, which you see. You see a lot more of that in college football, which I like. Like you have it in professional sports, but to a lesser extent. But the really delusional fan bases are in college sports. It seems, or college football in particular. But other than that, I saw that Oregon doesn't look all that great.
No, but the state of Idaho looks unbeatable.
All right, so you were asking about this in the text chain the other day, and I had just heard that Oregon didn't look good. I didn't look into it, and I was more focused on NFL this week. But so Oregon played Boise, right? Was it in Eugene or was it in Boise?
It was in Eugene, and this is actually, I'm pretty sure, the first time Oregon has ever beaten Boise State. They've not played that often. I think this was like the fourth time they've played, but Boise State has had their number like since they started playing. And so I mean, it was good for Oregon, I guess, but it's not really looking great for Laramie. We've got Boise at home. That might shake it up. But, I mean, when we score less against Idaho, then, well, I guess we scored the same amount as Idaho did against Oregon against Idaho. My hopes, they dwindle a little bit, especially with BYU coming up. We scored less than Idaho did against Oregon against Idaho. Idaho is ranked 7th in the FCS. At least they were. So they might be ranked higher now. I can go check them out.
So there's that little belt from between Minnesota and Oregon, Washington, just up there on the Canadian line. You got North Dakota, South Dakota, a couple Montana schools, and now a couple Idaho schools in the FCS that are like, they're no joke. It's
Idaho State's not a joke either. Yeah. Idaho State beat an FBS. I'm pretty sure Idaho State beat an FBS team.
It's did you ever watch?
But they smoked Western Oregon. They held their own for a while against Oregon State. But I mean, it's tough. And when schools like Wyoming have kind of outside hopes for playoff contention and hoping that they can make it in by winning the conference. I mean, this is a Wyoming team that started the year last year 7-0, 6-0.
Yeah.
And I think we were 7-1 until we kind of fell apart. But it's tough when you've got these little conferences and the best teams are like Tulane or Memphis or Boise State, and they're perennially the best teams. I have half a mind that even if Wyoming won out, if Boise State didn't have a great season and we went 13-0 or whatever, and Boise State went 10-2, 10-3 with a loss, there's no way that we'd even be considered.
Yeah.
And it's just because we're not Boise State. I don't know who the last quarterback out of Boise State that made the NFL was, but I sure as hell know who Josh Allen is.
Well, If you want to be real technical, I think it was Kellen Moore who's offensive coordinator, but he was a backup. I don't think he ever actually played much in the NFL, but he was in the NFL for a little while.
Browns, I think, didn't he? Or he might have played for the Browns.
Maybe it was the Browns. I think he was there in Dallas at some point before he was, coaching there. But yeah, I'm not sure. But he's the last one I can think of that was in the NFL out of Boise. But I hear that running back looks
insane. Is insane. Harrison Whaley, Wyoming's running back, was on the short list for the best running back in the country award before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would have won it with a healthy, amazing season because that's how good Ashton Jeanty is.
Yeah.
Boise's built their entire offensive line around protecting the run and getting those huge explosive runs and then playing smash mouth the rest of the game. They led Oregon well into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's how you beat a team that was considered the third best in the country.
They're for a small school, they're about as close as it gets to being considered in that blue blood category because that Statue of Liberty play is back in the Fiesta Bowl was 04 some shit like that. That was what put Boise on the map, but they've been consistently good ever since then. They don't have many down years, and even when they have a down year, they're always a threat. They got that stupid blue field that they're so proud of, but
I hate colored fields.
It's dumb.
Eastern Michigan's. I hate Eastern Washington's. I hate Boise's.
Yeah,
stupid. Make them green or go home.
Yeah, I agree. When I was, I think I had to have been my freshman year of college. I was working at the horticulture farm at CSU, and they had they had some turf grass research going on out there with so they had people from the USGA out there all the time. Well, the border war was in Fort Collins that year, and some WYO dudes got onto the field at Hughes Stadium and sprayed UW with Roundup in the turf. So there was just a dead brown UW in the middle of our football field for the border war.
Oh, I love that.
And the entire campus of CSU was kind of just fuck, that's good.
That
I was just you just kind of, you looked at it and you just go, oh fuck, that's good. That's, you sons of bitches. We beat the fuck out of you. But it was the prank. I was just and it was like a episode of CSI out at the horticulture farm with
trying to figure out
what happened. Yeah. And it was pretty obvious. They just sprayed some Roundup and but it was well done. I had to tip a hat to them. It was that was good. That was good. Anything else big from the college scene this week?
Ole Miss continued to show that they are a proven team that's untested. We watched a good, I guess, a decent Clemson team beat up on App State.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointed. I really wanted App State to play giant killer like they like to do. But the biggest, the Texas Tech Wazoo game, Washington State, that was an exciting game for a while. And then Texas Tech pulled away. Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Still ranked at number 8, I'm pretty sure. And Bowling Green led that game until the very last play of the game.
No shit.
Yeah.
Or maybe I knew it was close.
That might be exaggerating, but it definitely did not look pretty for Penn State. Penn State, yeah, is still ranked at number 8 after barely beating Bowling Green.
That's wild.
it was kind of stupid that they stayed ranked that high after that. Let's see. Another big game that I thought was wild was the Arkansas-Oklahoma State game.
That one was like triple overtime or something like that.
And Oklahoma State won 39-31, but that's a little misleading because if you look at the stats, if we go to the box score, team stats, let's go over here. All right, total passing yards for the Razorbacks. Oh, total yards for the Razorbacks, 648 to Oklahoma State's 385. Passing yards for Arkansas, 416 to Oklahoma State's 326. And rushing yards, 232 to Oklahoma State's 59.
Holy shit.
They completed 27 of 48 passes and 26 of 46 passes. So pretty even on the completion percentage front. But Arkansas threw 3 picks or 2 picks and a fumble or 2 fumbles and a pick to Oklahoma State's 1 pick, which might have actually been the reason that they lost. They controlled the game. Arkansas had 36 minutes of possession. I mean, and the fact that they lost speaks to Oklahoma State's intensity in their drive, but also speaks to Alabama's not quite being there yet.
Did Ollie Gordon having chlamydia or syphilis play into this win at all, you think?
I don't know. He scored the touchdown, the game-winning touchdown and 2-point conversion. So he kind of it wasn't his flu game.
Okay.
But
I've been lucky enough where I've never had the clap or syphilis or nothing, but like would having a little antsy in your pantsy make you a little shiftier as a running back?
You'd think, a little extra pop.
Yeah.
He had 17 carries for 49 yards and is widely considered the second best running back in the country behind Genty. So again, I mean, the thing about college is how much do you know?
That's
nothing.
That's right.
You don't know anything.
So here, you heard it here first on Burning Daylight Sports. I think he thought the syphilis would give him a little extra edge in his rushing game, and it backfired. But he is a stud, and he was able to pull it out at the end. However, probably ought to get that checked out. You'll end up real crazy if you leave that syphilis untreated. So yeah, you heard that here first. Get
your STDs checked.
Yeah.
Next game, Iowa State.
I was going to mention that too. I won money on this game. I hit under.
And I'm sure you met it because it was an Iowa
State classic. Just grind them out. Which if you're like a casual football fan, you probably hate that game. But if you like the old school hard-nosed football, I love it. I mean, like I'm a fan of the Steelers. I'm like, they're not my team, but I'm a fan of how like the Steelers play football.
Plays good football.
Yeah, and Ravens same way. I like how they play. Like I like that AFC North, how hard-nosed they are. Like that, I like that style of football. And yeah, Iowa State's just like, it's a classic, just white boy football game. There's no black people in Iowa, so you just get a bunch of corn-fed white boys slugging it out for the Hawkeyes. They don't teach
you how to throw the football on the farm. They just teach you how to fuck up a cow.
You got to know how to pitch it every now and then, but that's pretty much it.
Illinois beat number 17 ranked Kansas or 19 ranked Kansas.
That's
State fans happy.
Yeah. And then I saw like NC State, who was widely speculated to be overranked at the beginning of the year.
I love NC State. but NC State is a ranked at the end of the year team.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about Ole Miss because I think Ole Miss, at least the past few years, wasn't ranked at the end of the year team. And when you start ranking these teams that are second half of the season teams, they'll be 7-0, but it'll be hard fought, or 6-1 or whatever. But you start ranking these teams, you're putting this pressure on a team that's not really built to handle that like that. And that
was rough. And Tennessee is on the upswing because Tennessee was a blue blood for a long time, and then they kind of fell off for quite a while. But they've been on the upswing here the last couple of years, and there's still a lot of money at Tennessee, and
there's a lot of money at Tennessee.
And when Tennessee's good, college football is a lot of fun too. Like Tennessee's a fun place to. I mean, Rocky Top's a great college football song. Like the band plays when the band's playing it, it's awesome. Like Tennessee's stadium is fucking massive. Like it's a good thing for college football if Tennessee plays.
And there's a team when they're good, they're good. If you look at the top 25 this week, the SEC has 6 of the top 7 teams. The only team that's not from the SEC in the top 7 is Ohio State at number 3. SEC might have 4 or 5 teams in the playoff. The SEC might have 5 10-win teams.
Yeah,
make the playoff.
And I'm tired of hearing about the SEC bias because the SEC
I'm sorry that Colorado
it's that fucking good. It's that fucking good. It's
at least we haven't gotten shut out.
They take their football seriously, and it shows.
They do. It is surprising, though. I mean, like the Big Ten, Penn State is in there with Ohio State, and they don't deserve to be in there. And I'm not talking about Big Ten teams like Washington or these teams that don't belong.
Yeah.
But it'll be Alabama, Wisconsin will be interesting. Wisconsin's 2-0. They're playing at home against Alabama this week. I don't expect them to win, but I think Wisconsin will put on a show.
Yeah.
Alabama this year is not. Alabama is built a lot like Washington was last year. And I don't think that Washington team was truly built to beat a Big Ten team. And Wisconsin is a Big Ten team. They play that hard-nosed, corn-fed football. They run it down your gut. They've got a pretty decent quarterback who can throw. We know Wisconsin basketball can shoot. Well, they've got a quarterback who can throw.
Yeah.
I think that it'll be close. Alabama this year showed again that they can barely beat University of South Florida. It was a lot less close this year at the end, but it was tied at the half.
South Florida's got their number though. That's kind
of I don't know what South Florida, what voodoo spell that they've done, but they have scared the shit out of Alabama fans for the past 2 years.
It was like Brady going to Miami. Like for whatever reason, the Dolphins were like the only team ever to have the Patriots number. Like even Peyton didn't truly have the Patriots number. Like he beat him his fair share, but like more often than not, Brady came out ahead of that one, except that Miami game for whatever reason. I don't know. It's those weird little coincidences. K-State Tulane was a good game. Great game, actually. K-State pulled it out. Tulane turns out looks pretty good again. Or you're talking about that last week. I'm glad K-State pulled it out. I'd like to see what they can do. I'm curious to see what the Big 12 is going to be without Texas and Oklahoma. USC and Oregon are kind of the big story of the new Big 10 teams. Everybody thought Oregon was going to be this force this year, and they might be still. It's not looking great for them. They're undefeated still, but hasn't been that pretty.
No, it really has not.
And then USC, who could not stop anybody last year,
has shown that they have a good defense.
Their defense
coordinator knows what he's doing.
Yeah, USC looks pretty damn good. Honestly, I wasn't expecting much out of them. Texas went in and kind of put a whooping on Michigan.
That was a nice game to watch. I mean, just it was complete football. They ran the ball, they threw it, they didn't really leave anything for Michigan to do. They controlled time of possession. They didn't. It was a good game.
Is Texas back?
I don't know, and I won't say that they're back ever. I think that's
because
put on them.
I think that's a solid response because Texas is one of those teams where you're like, all right, maybe Texas is back, and they're another team that always should be good for
they were undefeated until they blew a massive lead to Oklahoma last year.
Yeah,
until they do that, until they can prove to me that they can hold their own in a rivalry game and not look like a doormat. I can't say with confidence that I really think Texas was a good team. They made the playoff. I don't think they should have made the playoff.
Yeah.
Obviously they were the highest ranked. They won the Big 12. They had to. But I wouldn't have put them in there. It was Michigan, Alabama, Texas, and Washington. For the first time, it wasn't two SEC teams in a few years. The fact that the defending champions Georgia had one loss, and it was to Alabama in the SEC championship. They didn't make it in. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
The four highest ranked conference champs. I just don't understand how there were conference champs who got snubbed in the past. So that there was Alabama Georgia rematch and a half to the SEC championship in the Sugar Bowl or whatever was one of the playoff games.
So here's a good question, good topic of discussion. Does this expanded playoff fix part of that, of having an undisputed champ?
I think it does.
I think so too.
And we've seen teams like Cincinnati, who were at the time it wasn't Conference USA, whatever their conference was with Houston before they moved over to the Big 12.
I think it was Conference USA, actually.
Was it? I don't know.
Or were they the MAC? Maybe they were MAC. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, but it was one of those little shitty mid-major conferences.
Cincinnati made the playoff.
Yeah.
At one point. They were higher ranked than the ACC team.
Yep.
And I think that it's been shown that it's possible, but when you're a team like Boise State or Cincinnati or hell, even TCU going up against these blue blood programs like Georgia.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're, a Midwestern team that will run smash mouth football. When you're running up against a brick wall of that size, you can run through brick walls. This is not that kind of wall.
Yeah, that's like I was hearing, because I haven't watched Texas play yet, but I hear their offensive line is just fucking massive, just like enormous.
It doesn't make sense for humans to be that big.
It's
I am 6'3", 6'4", and I don't think I could see over them. I don't think I could properly read a defense unless I was 50 yards behind them taking a long snap.
I witnessed Trevor Price walk by me in person at a Bronco game one time. He was on the DL, and he was just like cruising in the club, the club section that we were sitting in, and he walked by, and I'm just like, oh my God, that dude is so big. And he was a defensive end, so like, yeah, just imagine those like legit huge like left tackle types. I mean, they're just enormous.
I think this year is not going to be pretty for the playoff.
Probably not.
I think this year the SEC is too damn good.
Yeah.
But I think next year we're going to start seeing a lot more teams make a push.
Well, it's going to be interesting once the playoffs starts because, like, take a team like Boise. They could be in there. They could be in there.
See how good Oregon. If Oregon finishes undefeated and they win the Big Ten, first off, Idaho should be ranked number 1 in the FCS. They should be ranked number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
And 2, Boise State should be ranked a lot higher. If they're not ranked already in that top 12 without the seeding, they should get ranked a lot higher because I can see Boise State going 11-1 this year.
Yeah.
Boise State team that put the hurt on Oregon, that's a good team.
Yeah, and they lost by a field goal. That's a quality loss, you know. That's
It's like you give up 3 runs, it's still a quality start in baseball.
Well, and even so, let's say Oregon ends up like, you know, with 3 losses or something like that. They're still a pretty damn good football team. And you go into Eugene, which is a tough place to play because the field or the stadium is like right on top of the field. Like there's no sideline there. And it's loud as fuck. And Oregon gets up for those games. And particularly a team like Boise, a smaller school, but they have a reputation of being spoilers. And they've earned it.
App State has a spoiler reputation.
Yep.
I would say
North Dakota State
more giant killer. You know.
Yeah.
But the App State team that went in and beat Texas lost to Wyoming a week later.
Yeah.
I don't know why Wyoming, could kill them.
Why does Iowa State play could be god awful all year, but they'll knock somebody off.
Yeah.
They just do. They have that reputation. Like Ames, Iowa is a spooky place to play. Eugene, Oregon is a tough place to play, but Boise is always a spooky team to have on the other side.
They're and playing them year in, year out in the Mountain West, you really see they know how to recruit.
Yeah.
You're not getting a lot of guys in these transfer portals or whatever nowadays, which I think is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I think that you should be able to transfer whenever you want, but the amount that people are doing it now, it's like every offseason is free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was at a CSU, but I transferred to Wyoming because, I could feel myself getting fruitier.
Yeah.
And I couldn't deal with that. So I transferred, and that makes sense. Or I transferred and now I'm playing in my 5th year of college because I'm getting my master's degree and whatever. And the NCAA says, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So now I'm playing here because they've got the degree I want. I transferred here because I got $1 million bonus.
Yeah.
From some rich guy who used to own slaves. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Which I had some guy from Ole Miss equate it to modern day slavery. He's like, we're getting bought and sold at the market.
South Park did that episode with the Crack Baby Basketball Association. Nailed it, 15 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Athletes. Oh, that's a good thing to call your slaves. Athletes.
Real good thing.
So week 3.
Real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah. Notre Dame sucks again.
Fuck Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate them.
Dude, and you know what? Rudy is such a bitch. Rudy is such a bitch.
Have you heard the story?
Probably, but
Joe Montana was the quarterback.
And was he really?
Yeah. He said the only thing that happened in that movie that actually happened in real life, he got the touchdown, and then as a prank, he got carried away by the offensive line. They just picked him up because he was tiny. They like to make fun of him for being tiny. Everything else in that movie, fucking bullshit. Joe Montana says that he doesn't hang around any of the alumni things to go to any of those things anymore because they all make fun of him for his stupid stupid movie.
And that it's considered like one of the all-time great sports movies of all time, and I don't get it.
Forrest Gump is an all-time great sports movie. The Water
Forrest Gump is great. Waterboy, dude, Bull Durham. Bull Durham is one of the.
Bull Durham is good.
Such a great baseball. Kevin Costner is a real cunt, it seems like, but god damn it, is he good in a baseball movie?
Why you say he's a cunt?
Just the feeling I get from him. I don't know.
I think that he has had a lot of patience, and I think a lot of people think he sucks now because of what's going on with Yellowstone.
I don't hate the Yellowstone thing. Like,
well, it's just he might be a dick, but I don't ever want to meet him because I sure as hell like the guy.
Well, he plays his ass off in a Western and he plays his ass off in a baseball movie, which are two of my favorite things. So, like, he's good in my book. That I'm the same way. I don't care to ever meet the guy, but Bull Durham's one of the greatest baseball movies of all time. Fucking Field of Dreams. Come on, get the fuck out of here.
So good,
so good,
and
so good.
And it wasn't even just because of the baseball part. It was just a good movie.
No, I say Bull Durham's one of the greatest baseball movies because there's just so much subtle, like, just normal baseball antics that goes on that, like, it kind of slides under the radar. But like, if you've played baseball much at all, like, you just like, yeah, that was my locker room too, or that was our dugout. You know, they're just I don't know. There's a bunch of little shit in there. But yeah, fuck Notre Dame, fuck Rudy. Notre Dame is still ranked, aren't they?
Let us check them out. Notre Dame is ranked at 18. Now, NIU, I was reading some articles, as one does to prepare for a sports podcast that maybe 20 people listen to.
Hey, we got like 100 downloads on a new channel last. So
oh hell yeah,
yeah, we're that was more than I was expecting. So we did all right.
But I was reading some of the MAC articles, and NIU was picked kind of as a dark horse by a couple folks to be sneakily good in the MAC and make a push. Well, and after NIU didn't play pretty football.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch the game, but
pretty football. They played football. They were down there in the trenches, and they fought the number 5 team in the country.
And Notre Dame's got a good defense too, don't they?
Yeah, well, which is why Northern Illinois only had 16 points. But clearly, Riley Leonard is not the answer that they were looking for at Notre Dame that they thought he was.
No,
it was really cool to watch. Like, and NIU is not a giant killer. If Boise State went to Notre Dame and beat them, I wouldn't be as surprised.
No.
I wouldn't look at that score and be like, oh, well, I would be like, oh, that's just Boise State playing Boise State football. NIU went in there and they beat Notre Dame soundly. They made them look bad.
Well, good. There was a brief stretch when I was in college where NIU was pretty salty, but then they fell off pretty hard.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, so like I said, like you said, they're not a giant killer. They're not a Boise. And like I'm not particularly a fan of Boise, but like respect. They go in and they've done it a lot. But week 3 looks like there's some pretty decent games coming up, particularly like on the ranked side of things. But we're about past the tune-up games, which that's the worst part of college football is the damn tune-up games.
However, tune-up games is how Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois.
That's true. I mean,
Illinois got paid $1.4 million to beat Notre Dame
at Notre Dame.
New Mexico State last year got paid $1 million in the middle of the season to go into Auburn and beat Auburn.
Well, it's like Wyoming got paid a bunch of money to go to Texas, and they
And we
gave
held
them
Texas
a
through
hell
three
of a
quarters.
run. Hell of
We
a
scored
run.
against Texas, which is a lot more than my friends south of the border can say.
Yeah.
Now, we did lose to Idaho, so I don't know how much room I've got to talk, but I'm on a little ledge and I'm going to talk as much as I
go
can.
for it. Go for it. Friday night, we got Arizona going to Manhattan to play K-State. Number 20, Arizona, 14, K-State. Spreads at 7.5, K-State. I don't know much about Arizona, but I've heard talk that they're kind of fun.
They've had a couple really solid seasons, and they're a good team. They are coming from the Pac-12, and
yeah,
in terms of conferences, if we still had the Pac-12, they were on par with being as weak as the SEC. You had Oregon and Washington, and really, who else did you have? You had a USC team last year who had more holes than Swiss cheese in their defense.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the best quarterback in the country putting up 60 points a game, and you were giving up 61, And Arizona is one of those teams that, if they can hold their own, I don't see them beating Kansas State. I see Kansas State and Utah going at it for the title.
Yeah.
In the Big 12. But I see Arizona putting up a fight, and we saw Tulane put up a good fight against Kansas State. Yeah. I just don't think I honestly think Tulane would have beaten Arizona.
Probably.
Arizona play and watching Tulane play, I don't think Arizona is as good of an opponent as Tulane is, and they're ranked because of the name. And
Tulane's pretty kind of a spooky place to play too, and it's
in more ways than one.
Yeah. I mean, you got all the voodoo shit down in New Orleans. You got it's just hot, swampy, and it's a small stadium, which like Kansas State's a pretty big stadium. I don't know. I would imagine it's kind of weird going to some of those small schools for coming from a big stadium like that. But I like K-State. I think they got a good. They're kind of on a good run here. The Big 12's not a particularly strong conference. It's not particularly weak either. But
and we could see Iowa State.
Yeah,
make a pretty good run. We could even see, Oklahoma State continue to survive and hold.
Well, and you could have teams like like UCF make a run for it. West Virginia, I don't know how good they are this year, but
they're a spooky team.
And Morgantown's a tough place to play. Like if West Virginia gets hot, there was a time when West Virginia was a really tough team to play. Like they were kind of not necessarily in title contention, but they were kind of in the mix for a while. And then like you didn't want to play them, honestly. He didn't want to play them. So if they get back to that status, I mean, the Big 12's not, like I said, they're not a powerhouse, but they're not necessarily strong, but they're not necessarily weak. Then we got Bama at Wisconsin. Bama's at number 4. Here they're looking pretty good. Wisconsin's always tough. They always have a stud running back.
They do. Wisconsin struggled against Western Michigan, and Alabama put them away.
Okay. So they've played the same team already, and
I think so. Am I crazy?
I believe you. I don't know on
Western Michigan. Wisconsin played them week 1, and they ended up winning by 2 scores, but it was closer than that.
Okay.
Oh, it was Ohio. Excuse me, it was Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
Ohio State handled Western Michigan 56-0.
Isn't Chip
So
Kelly the offensive coordinator at Ohio State now?
I think he is. I'm pretty
That's
sure. I'm pretty sure Chip Kelly's at Ohio State.
I think so. He's not head coach, I don't
He's
think.
at OSU. He's at Ohio State.
Okay. But yeah, he's offensive coordinator, huh?
Yeah, but it's interesting because he's really brought a different dynamic to that Ohio State team. You know, we watched him with those air raid offenses at UCLA
Yeah, and Oregon.
and at Oregon, and he's really kind of merged it with some good Big Ten football.
Well, there was never any doubt that dude could put up some points and he could do it quickly.
Yeah.
He he kind of made that up tempo offense a thing in college football. Anyways, we'll get to Ohio State here in a minute, but Alabama at Wisconsin.
I wouldn't want to play there either.
I wouldn't either. When they get to play and jump around and shit, you know, like Wisconsin gets pretty rowdy, and they play classic Big Ten football. They're just gonna run it down your throat. That's what they do, and they always seem to have a stout offensive line and a stud running back. Alabama, they got the coach from Washington, right?
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer.
That's right. So we'll see. He's got every opportunity to put together a good team at Alabama. I mean, fuck, they got more money than God down there. So we'll see. Spreads at 16, over unders at 51.5. I kind of like Wisconsin to cover on that. I don't know. I don't think they win that game outright, but 16, it is college football, but at Wisconsin, I like Wisconsin with the points there.
I do too.
Over under, I'm gonna stay away from that. I don't know. That could be that could honestly be a 17-10 game.
Or it could be crazy high scoring.
Yeah, it could go any way on that, but I think Wisconsin keeps it close. Oklahoma State at Tulsa. Tulsa every now and then can be decent. Doesn't look like they're going to be this year.
We used to coach at Tulsa back when they were good.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, spreads at 20, over unders at 62.5. I'm going to stay away from that game. Oklahoma State should run that, you'd think. That's kind of a little bit of a rivalry game too, even though Tulsa's nothing to write home about, but it's just right down the road. So Tulsa kind of gets up for those games. LSU, South Carolina, that's the college game day game, I think. LSU's not very good, it seems like.
Yeah, they put the hurt on Nichols.
Yeah, Nichols State or whatever.
Yeah, that was a real great game. Really showed off Alabama, LSU.
So they had their coaches, that the guy that was previously at Notre Dame, right?
Yes.
That guy's a douche, it seems like. I don't know much about him, but he's just another one of a string of coaches since Lou Holtz left Notre Dame that gets gifted a triple by being a head coach at Notre Dame. Like, you should have no problem recruiting, no problem putting together a very, very talented team. You'd think a decent head coach would actually make Notre Dame a tough place to play every year, but Brian Kelly's just another one of those guys that they paid him a bunch of money, and now he's trying his luck in the SEC, and it's another place where you should be able to put together a really good team every year. I mean, LSU is known for being they're a blue blood. You should be good. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck his deal is.
South Carolina's spooky.
Yeah.
That's a team that can that might, make a serious push in the SEC this year. It's another one of those. The SEC, I don't think, is a bad team. We're seeing Vanderbilt play some really solid football. And
really?
Oh yeah. I'd take Vandy to make a push. Maybe not for the SEC playoff, but I think they might end the season ranked and be able to kind of push on from there. It's we'll see how well they do. But
right.
they played Virginia Tech very, very soundly in a game Virginia Tech was supposed to win.
Yeah. And that's probably what, like a 15-point spread, probably.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, so we got LSU going into South Carolina. South Carolina's 2-0, looking not bad. Spreads at 7, LSU, over unders at 50.5. You think South Carolina covers that?
I think they do.
Really?
I genuinely think South Carolina is going to have this. I mean, they're playing at home in Columbia. It's a home game in the SEC for South Carolina, and they know what to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, it'd be kind of cool if they did. They knock off LSU. South Carolina will definitely be ranked at the end of the week. So
now LSU loses that ranking that they don't deserve.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't watched any of their games. I don't. Or who did they? Then they played USC, huh?
Yeah, and they lost.
That's right. I watched that game.
USC.
I expected LSU to have a better defense, just based off a SEC. I know they didn't have a good defense last year, but you're LSU. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't know. I don't get it. Arkansas State at Michigan. Spreads at 23.5. Michigan should handle that, but I guess there's always a chance for an upset, but I wouldn't think so. That's still tune-up game. Boston College, they got Bill O'Reilly coaching for them now, don't they?
Yeah, they've got a good coach. This is an exciting game. Mizzou is a good team.
Yeah, Mizzou was good last year too, and they came back pretty much intact. Like they didn't
lose a whole lot to the draft, and they picked up a lot more in the transfer portal, and it's gonna be an interesting game.
Did they make the SEC championship last year, or were they? I know they were
third. They finished third. It was Alabama, Georgia, Mizzou.
That's right. That's right. But they were right there in that conversation. I think. I can't remember exactly how that played out, but I know Missouri's a good team. Boston College has looked okay. They beat Florida State, which at the beginning of the year you're like, hey, that's a good win. Now you're like, it's Florida State. So, is Boston College any good? We'll see. I think Missouri spreads at 17. I don't know if they cover that, but I think Missouri wins by 2 scores pretty easy.
I think that's a good take.
Yeah. I mean, this seems like a game that Mizzou should cover 17, but I don't know. Boston College probably feeling themselves a little bit right now, and Bill O'Brien's a good coach. I mean, he didn't pan out in the NFL by any means, but he's been good in college for a while.
He's a good college coach. I think that we'll see a good showing from a team that could, make a run at the ACC.
Yeah.
I think looking at how weak their that conference is,
Are they they're ACC?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they were Big Ten for some reason, but it's hard to keep track of the conferences
You
nowadays.
would think that they're Big Ten, but they're ACC.
Okay. Well, Oregon is Big Ten, so Oregon at Oregon State.
I kind of like Oregon State here.
I do too. I bet them to cover. Spreads at -16 Oregon. Corvallis is a notoriously tough place to play. That's a notoriously tough rivalry game. No longer in the same conference. So it's a little earlier in the season. I don't know if that changes much. But I bet you Corvallis is rocking. And yeah, I like Oregon State to cover, if not win outright.
Yeah. I don't understand how Oregon is favored so high in this.
I don't either. That's a tough game every year. Doesn't matter who's the higher ranked team. Like that's a tough game. So and Oregon is, I mean, they're 2-0, but they've struggled. And yeah, I don't know. It's that seems like if I was to pick an upset this week, that's probably it.
I don't even know how much of an upset that would be, just because Oregon State, Oregon
State
might be wanting that ranking.
That's fair. But strictly off of just rankings, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if there's an upset to watch for, I think that's probably my pick of the week. Ball State at Miami. I hear Miami's looking pretty good this year.
I will say Miami's back. I don't feel so bad about cursing that team.
I've never been a Miami fan, but I've never been a fan of Florida teams in general. But college football is a lot more fun when Miami's good. So spreads at 36.5 there. I don't know anything about Ball State. I imagine Miami rolls on that, but Tulane going into Norman, playing number 15 Oklahoma. Tulane gave K-State a hell of a game. Spreads at 13.5. Oklahoma should roll, but K-State should have rolled too. And that's another one. I don't hate that spread. I don't hate that spread at all.
No, I think it's a good chance for this Tulane team to really show what they're about. I think they could really walk out of Norman either with a 2-1 team. I don't know why I was thinking 1-2, 2-1 team.
But even so, at 1-2, when you're coming off to giving a top 15 team a run for their money, and then another top 15 team a run for their money, if they make it a good game, it's hard for Tulane not to come out of Norman feeling pretty okay. Like, on a 2-game losing streak, that you're feeling as good as you can on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah. I mean, a 10-2 Tulane whose losses are against Kansas State and Oklahoma, that's a playoff team. And close losses at two against K-State and Oklahoma.
And that's a tough team to play in the playoff. Like a winnable game for sure, but like not a game you're really looking forward to.
No, that's not a rollover win. That's definitely not a tune-up game.
Yeah. Notre Dame coming in at number 18 at Purdue. Purdue, are they any good?
No, but they never are, and they always end up with a big ranked win.
That's another spooky place to play for whatever reason. Boiler up. I had a roommate in college that went to Purdue. He I don't know how he made it to Fort Collins, but anyway, he had graduated Purdue and then was working in Fort Collins, and so I kind of became somewhat familiar with Purdue, and I that is one of those. While they're not necessarily, it's kind of like an Iowa State, never really going to be in the like national championship conversation, but good chance they'll play spoiler somewhere. And Notre Dame sucks. Spreads at 10. I like Notre Dame to cover that just because they're going to be looking to prove something. But I'm not gonna put any money on that. If I was, I'd probably take Notre Dame to cover.
Utah's playing Utah State. That's one of the big Mountain West Big 10 or Big 12 games.
That's where Jordan Love's from, right? Is Utah State?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what's Utah's quarterback? Cam Rising, is that his name?
That 7th year guy who's got so much experience in every single freaking.
But conference. he's been at Utah the whole time, hasn't he?
I don't know. I think he has.
I don't know for sure about that, but he's I mean Utah State, BYU, Boise. You always got to factor in the Mormon situation.
He started at Texas.
Oh, okay.
Transferred.
I see. Is he Mormon?
I don't know, but I gotta say Utah Utes, they're not a big Mormon school.
I mean, as far as
compared to BYU,
as far as Utah goes, maybe not, but they're still Utah.
Yeah,
but you always got to factor that in with the Mormon schools. So, yeah, Utah's obviously not as much as BYU for sure, but Utah State, Utah, and Boise State as well. And they do really good with the Samoans. They get a lot of really, really talented Samoan kids at those Mormon schools for whatever reason. All right, here. So your boys Ole Miss, they're ranked number 5 now.
This is the first test.
Wake Forest, how are they? They haven't been good in a hot minute.
No, last year was rough for them, but they've been good pretty recently. They've been a good team.
Okay. Spreads at 23.5
now against Virginia. They lost to Virginia by 1.
Okay.
They beat North Carolina Ag and Tech, which doesn't count for shit.
Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, 23.5 is the spread, 64.5 for the over under. Even for college, that's a big spread, but I mean, Ole Miss ought to roll. That should be like pretty easily
I'm hoping
25, 30 point game.
Salem is a tough place to play. And it's a place where those NC teams don't want to go.
Yeah. All right. Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, they'll win pretty easy, I think. But yeah, 23.5. They're not expecting a particularly close game. UTSA, are they still kind of okay?
I don't think UTSA will score.
Okay, so UTSA at Texas. Was it UTSA or was it UTEP that was kind of salty there for a couple of years?
UTEP is still kind of salty.
Okay, so UTSA is no good. Spreads at 35, 53.5 over under. Texas rolls. They're ranked number 2 now. All right.
When you beat the number 10 defending champs soundly in their
soundly, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Know, Ohio State beating Western Michigan isn't going to look so cute.
No, that's true. Georgia at Kentucky. A couple of years ago, this would have been a really good matchup. Seems like Kentucky's not so hot this year.
Fell off. Will Levis graduated, and they kind of lost. They lost a big portion of their team.
Huh. So Georgia spreads at 24. Georgia cover pretty easy. I
think it's not going to be close.
Georgia looks legit. Again. Northern Iowa at number 23, Nebraska. Go Big Red. Fucking Nebraska fans.
Go UNI. Well, 2 UNIs, Northern Illinois, Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that Nebraska's ranked. I don't think Colorado deserves to be ranked. I don't think a win over them is that big.
No, I don't think so either. Had Nebraska, I'll believe it when I see it. There's no spread on this. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska lost, honestly. But I don't know anything about Northern Iowa, and I until Nebraska proves something, I don't care. Kent State at Tennessee. That's going to be a nothing game. Spreads at 49. Holy fuck. 49. Jesus.
Total is going to be 62. I think that's I don't know. The 49, I think it thinks that Kent State's going to score.
Yeah. I mean, Kent State's notoriously bad too. So
people keep talking about how Kennesaw State's the worst team in the country, but everybody's now forgetting about Kent State.
Kent State's been so bad for a long time. You know, you just don't recover when you get a bunch of your students shot by the National Guard.
What's fucking National Guard shooting people? They did that in Colorado with the St. Creek Massacre.
Yeah.
They did Kent State.
Kent State, you know, but they put flowers in the barrels of the gun first, and you just don't recover from that.
No.
That's kind of. You got any other games worth watching? College watch.
So BYU, Wyoming, it's a revival of the old WAC.
Oh yeah,
rivalry. You know, and it's one of 3 Big 10 Mountain West or Big 12 Mountain West matchups this week. Colorado State.
Is BYU officially Big 12 now?
They are officially a member of the Big 12. They're no longer independent. So it's in Laramie. And as bad as we've shown, you know, it is the first 2 games with a new head coach. Again, an Arizona State team who is able to really do well in the portal, and an Idaho team who, for some unknown reason, and the deals with the devil that they made are still unknown, is scary. But I think this is going to be a game. I mean, we're going to the stadium was packed for Idaho. It's going to be packed. It's going to be packed for BYU. And it's going to be hostile.
Is there going to be any soaking going on in Laramie?
There's going to be no soaking.
You're going full thrust.
Yeah. No, thank you. You don't get to come into my town and do that shit.
You're not gonna jump on the bed for some some lowly soaker. You're not gonna
No,
be a bed shaker. I don't blame you.
absolutely not.
I don't blame you.
I would rather die.
All right, NFL started off with a bang this year. Like an absolute banger of a game. That Kansas City Baltimore game ended up 27-20. Fuck, I almost called that to a T. If you didn't catch that, Lamar Jackson had that tight end Likely in the back of the end zone to make it 27-26. His toe was on the line, that big ass fucking toe. Ravens were lining up for 2.
They were hurrying to the line too. They knew he didn't make it in.
I know it. And I was getting really excited because Travis Henry at the 2, I like that in almost every scenario. Particularly with Lamar Jackson as well. I mean, that was a fun game. That's a good chance that's the AFC Championship too. Lamar Jackson looks good. Travis Henry, they stopped feeding him the ball second half, but he looked. That's a dangerous combination. Lamar Jackson, Travis Henry.
You have Derrick Henry in your backfield, and he's the player who gets better. He'll have 40 carries in his first 30. He goes for 20 yards.
He's a bigger.
He goes for 150.
He's Marshawn Lynch, but bigger. Like, you just feed that guy. You run him until it doesn't get you anywhere, and then you try something else, and then you go back to him. Like, I don't make much sense. The Chiefs don't make much sense. Patty Mahomes now got a bunch of fun toys to play with. It's not fair. That shit's not even fair. Chiefs win the AFC West, running away this year. Ravens look really good. Don't be surprised if that's the AFC Championship game. And that could go either way, but money goes on Patty Mahomes until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of putting any money on Patrick.
I know you're not, but that's smart money. The Friday night game was also a banger. Eagles and Packers down in Brazil. That was a fun game in Brazil. Like those Brazilians were having some fun. Like that crowd was into it. They acted like they knew what the fuck was going on too. It didn't seem like the English crowds that are just happy to be there like that. It seemed like those Brazilians actually knew football.
Yeah.
And, the Packers looked pretty good. Saquon Barkley is a goddamn beast. And the Eagles should be in the NFC Championship based on what we saw this week.
I think the Packers will make a run,
I think they will. They're a good team.
I don't think the Eagles are as good as advertised.
We'll see how it plays out. First week, though, they look good, and if they can keep Saquon, like he's obviously not going to have three touchdowns every week, but you keep feeding that guy the ball too. I mean, he's obviously still got some shit left in the tank. So, I like the Packers. They lost that game, but it was a good game. Jordan Love looked okay. Josh Jacobs started out slow, but that dude's a fucking beast.
He's good, and they're going to continue to be good. Jordan Love got hurt, but I think he's going to be back.
That seemed more like a humidity thing down there. Like it was humid as fuck. It looked like. I mean, you know, when they panned out from the field, you could almost see the humidity in the air. So I don't know. We'll you have to kind of keep an eye on that. But I don't think that injury is too big of a deal. It seemed more like a situational thing.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on, though. You know,
yeah,
wise. But Steelers Falcons.
Fucking Steelers doing their thing.
That Russell Wilson inactive for the game, wearing pads on the sideline.
He's the fucking worst. I hate.
I used to really like him.
I did too.
Until he played for us. And
I know.
It was like, oh.
The mask got ripped off real quick when he came to Denver. Holy fuck. You know, Mike Tomlin's gonna fuck around and get what's his name, Justin Fields paid again. You know, like that. Is Justin Fields good? I don't know, but he's probably gonna make the playoffs every year that he's in Pittsburgh, because that's just what Pittsburgh does.
Yeah, we'll see.
How did Kirk Cousins look? I didn't watch this game.
Great. He kind of looked old.
Yeah, well, and he's coming off an Achilles. We'll get to Aaron Rodgers here in a minute, also coming off an Achilles. Bills at Cardinals. Josh Allen comes back for the win. Kyler Murray did what Kyler Murray does. He put up some points, didn't win the game. They didn't use Marvin Harrison Jr. very much, which you think they would.
I saw a highlight video. It was him waving for the ball wide open.
Yeah. I saw it.
Highlight.
I saw he had a drop, so that didn't help his case. But that guy, another one, just feed that guy the ball and good things will happen. Like, yeah, he's so good. Just get the guy the ball. The Bills looked pretty good. The Cardinals were up early though, so it's hard telling. Hard telling with the Bills. Josh Allen's always a good fantasy quarterback though. Like he's good for 20 every game. He'll throw 3 picks and still put up 20 fantasy points, you know.
Yeah.
Titans at the Bears. I had Titans money line and it was looking really good. I should have cashed out on that, because the Bears scored 24 unanswered in the second half. Second half. And Caleb Williams did not have 100 yards receiving, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Looked awful. Still won the game somehow.
He didn't put up a single offensive score. The Bears put up 24 defensive points.
Yeah, it was defense and special teams.
It was like the Broncos game.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah. We'll get to the Broncos here in a minute too. The Patriots at the Bengals. Patriots went in and beat the Bengals. Jacoby Brissett starting over there. The Bengals just can't get it together. They got a really good quarterback. They got a really, really good receiver. And their offensive line sucks. They're kind of a poor team as far as NFL franchises go. There's not many poor NFL teams, but the Bengals seem to be kind of one of those.
They really are.
I don't know what it is. I really like Joe Burrow too. Like that dude's a stud. But he gets sacked more than just about anybody in the league. And I just you got to have a good offensive line or you can't do shit. I don't know. Bengals, they're not looking good for them to start with. We'll see how it's week 1. You can always overreact on that, but the Patriots were not expected to be good at all, and you don't like to see that if you're a Bengals fan. Texans at the Colts. This was kind of a barn burner. CJ Stroud still looks good. Texans look good. Colts look pretty damn good too. That was a fun game. I think Texans are still the team to beat in the NFC South, but give it a couple weeks if the Colts keep putting together games like that. I mean, they'll be a problem.
Texans are going to be a good team. You know, they're I don't think they're quite there yet.
No,
but you know, a Colts team and where Anthony Richardson really showed why. You know, he's only started 17 games since high school.
Yeah.
And he showed why he's starting this one. You know, he played really sound, solid football, made some insane throws. You see the one where he was on his back foot and he threw it 40 yards?
Yeah.
Just on target.
Yep. Then fucking Stroud had one of those 60-yard throws on a dime too. You're just like, fuck, that guy's good. That guy's good. D'Amico Ryans is a great coach too. Texans are going to be a fun team again this year. Colts, Richardson stays healthy and he continues to look like that. They're going to be AFC South's going to be a fun division. Jaguars, they were up on the Dolphins for a while. Tyreek Hill, apparently he got a little mouthy with the cops, got thrown around before the game, still scored a touchdown.
I heard that he didn't get mouthy. He just said something along the lines of, "Do you know who I fucking am?" And the cops were like, "No," and I don't care.
Well, he was doing 120 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone. So,
oh shit! I didn't know.
I think he was in a Lambo. So
yeah, that's what it looked like.
So I don't know the whole story there. I'm not a big pro cop guy. I'm also not a big pro Tyreek Hill guy. That guy is insanely fast and good at football, but he's a piece of shit. So, who knows? I'm going to withhold judgment on that whole situation. Dolphins still going to win 12, 13 games and lose first round of the playoffs.
I don't doubt it.
They're insanely talented, but insanely soft. I don't know what it is. If they have to play the Ravens ever, I'm putting all the money on the Ravens just because they're a tougher team.
Yeah, they really are.
If Dolphins have to go up against an actual tough football team, they don't win that. They're kind of soft. Panthers look god awful. They made Derek Carr look like he was Steve Young. I didn't watch any of that game. I had the only player from the Saints on my fantasy team that didn't put up any points.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I had Chris Olave, and he put up 3.1 points for the week. And the Saints put up 47 fucking points.
How do you do that?
I don't understand it. I did not have a good week in fantasy this week. Vikings at the Giants. Justin Jefferson's going to fuck around and get Sam Darnold paid. That Justin Jefferson's insane. That dude's so good. Giants are gross. That what are they? What are the Giants doing with? I mean, like, because they paid, what's his name? Danny Dimes. What's his last name?
Daniel Jones.
Jones, yeah.
That he ought to be prosecuted.
Ooh, just highway robbery. It was like a Brock Osweiler deal.
Yeah. Although Brock Osweiler did lead the Texans to a wasn't it AFC championship?
Playoffs at least. I don't know if it was AFC championship, but definitely to the playoffs.
And Brock Osweiler led us to the playoffs once Peyton got hurt when we ended up. That's
true.
I think Brock Osweiler might have mugged the Broncos a little bit, but it wasn't quite highway robbery.
No. And Danny Dimes ain't as bad as Deshaun Watson's either. Like Deshaun Watson, like that.
That's crime.
That's like
all
violent
crime.
Violent crime. I had the Raiders money line against the Chargers too, and it was looking good early on, but Chargers won 22-10. They're another team that I won't be surprised if they win 12 games and then lose first round in the playoffs, or win 10 games and lose their spot at the playoffs on the last drive. That's typical Chargers. But I guess they got Harbaugh now. Harbaugh's a good coach. I'm not particularly a fan of him, but he's a good coach. Herbert seems like he should be a good quarterback. We'll see. We'll see how that
he does well here.
Yeah. Bo Nix did not throw a football over the mountains.
I was really excited to watch that happen.
I was too. Broncos look like they're going to be a good team to cover the spread this year, but they're not going to be good. Bo Nix did not look particularly good. In fact, he looked not great at all. But I've kind of come to expect that as a Bronco fan at this point. So, but they had a chance to win it. They didn't, but the spread was 6.5 and they covered. So defense looks pretty good still. Seahawks got a lot of talent. Seems like they should be able to score more points than that, but I don't know. They got Tyler Lockett. The dude from Ole Miss, been around for a little bit now, but
DK
Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, you should be able to put up all the points you want, you'd think, but I don't know. Seahawks will probably be pretty good, but about like they have been the last couple of years. They'll play spoiler somewhere, but the Broncos don't look good. We'll see if it comes together any at all. I still think Sean Payton's a good coach. We'll see. Maybe he's too old for the NFL now. NFL's trending younger, but we'll see. Cowboys at the Browns. Typical Cowboys. They're going to win 12, 13 games and then lose in the first round of the playoffs. And it'll be really great to see all the Cowboys fans throwing shit through their TV in the playoffs. Deshaun Watson got anything left in the tank, you think?
No. Garbage quarterback. You spend a year off.
Yeah.
Garbage person. I hate the guy. I hope he doesn't have anything left in the tank.
Classic Browns, though, isn't it? Just go.
They had the quarterback of the future.
They really did.
The quarterback.
If they would have held him for another year with
Mayfield has shown that he is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Might not be the Hall of Fame guy that, Deshaun Watson was before everybody realized that he was a rapist, but
he's gritty and he wins.
Yeah, he's a fighter. He's like Gardner Minshew, but maybe a little better arm talent.
Yeah, well, I think quite a bit better than Minshew, but
Minshew mania, man. I'm on that hype train.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, if you put him with the Browns defense now, like I think they'd give Baltimore a run for their money in the division.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, once the jack-off scandal came out, he was done. Speaking of Baker Mayfield, he just doing the damn thing. Buccaneers 37-20 over Washington. Jaden Daniels, I've got him on my fantasy team. I did not start him this week. Should have.
Played pretty good.
Yeah. Washington sucks. But I think Jaden Daniels is going to be good. Rams at Lions. That was a fun game.
Lions are legitimate.
They really are. I think I still like the Packers in that division, but the Lions are good. They're good, and the Rams, don't sleep on them. They're going to be good this year too.
Oh yeah.
And then I didn't get to watch this game as close as I wanted to. The Jets at the Niners.
It was interesting. I watched the game, and Aaron Rodgers looked like himself before Jordan Love got drafted. He was kind of not playing as well as he ought to have been.
Yeah. Like there was flashes of his old self. Like he made a couple throws where you're like, all right, yeah, we've seen that before. That makes sense. And then, yeah, he kind of looks old, looks rusty. I don't know. I was always a fan of Rodgers as a talent, but not so much as a person. He was really, really fucking good when he was at the top of his game, and he might just be too old now. I don't know. We'll see. Got a lot of weapons. Though. So this Thursday we got Bills at the Dolphins. That'll be a fun game. Spreads at 2.5 Miami, 48.5 for the over under. Give me the over all day on that. I like the Bills to cover 2.5 too. Honestly, I think the Bills might win that outright.
I believe it. I think Bills are. People are forgetting about how good the Bills really are.
Yeah, they. So they don't have Stephon Diggs, and there's a lot of discussion whether that's a good or a bad thing. I don't know if necessarily Diggs was the best teammate, but there's no doubt that he's one of the best receivers in the league.
Oh yeah.
And then Josh Allen's a gamer. He's a gunslinger. He's probably going to have some turnovers, but he's going to keep it close. That's for damn sure. That dude's. I like Josh Allen a lot. And they looked pretty good this week. Dolphins, I don't sleep on them, but I like the Bills to cover. I'll have to see what the money line bet is we get closer to game time, but I might sprinkle Bills money line on that. And then I love the over 48.5. I love that. Those guys, both those teams will put up points. So Saints at Cowboys. We got Cowboys minus 6.5, over under at 45.5. I'm gonna stay away from that game. I don't like that line. If it was 7, I might take the Saints. Cowboys probably win that game.
That's tough. I like the Saints, but I got to take the Cowboys on that. I don't think that the Saints are going to hold up.
I don't think so either. I don't mind the over in that game at 45.5. Cowboys defense when it's on though, like when Micah Parsons is wrecking shit, they don't give up many points, but then there's some teams that have Parsons figured out too. Like if you run his way, like you're probably okay. I mean, like he might get a backfield tackle, but usually he's headed for the quarterback, and you can kind of just run right by him. But then there's other games where he's everywhere all the time, and he just he wrecks a game. So, if I took anything, I'd take the over. I don't like that spread. I'm not sold on the Cowboys, and I'm definitely not sold on the Saints, but lean Cowboys, but 6.5 is a lot in the NFL.
It is. It's a big spread.
Yeah, that's the thing between college and NFL spreads. Like 15-point spread in college is pretty normal. 15-point spread in the NFL is almost unheard of. So, yeah, I don't know. 6.5 is a lot. I might take the over, but I'm probably just stay away from that game all the way. Buccaneers at Lions. That's a fun game. Detroit's minus 7, over under at 51.5. I like Buccaneers to cover that. I don't know if they win, but to cover 7, I like Buccaneers to cover.
I'll take that. I'll take those odds.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield just doing what everybody said he couldn't do. So he's another one at this point. And it's like, well, until proven otherwise, I guess Baker Mayfield's a pretty good quarterback. Colts Packers, that's another fun game. We got Colts -3, over under at 40.5. I like Packers to cover, especially at home. And I could kind of see that being a low scoring game too. Like a 17-14 game. Jets at Titans. Do you think the Jets are going to do shit this year?
Against the Titans, they're going to win. I don't know if they do shit for the rest of the year, but they'll win against the Titans.
They got a really good defense. So, I mean, if Rodgers is healthy, I like the Jets to be in every game. I don't know how much they win, but that's going to be – that defense alone is going to be a problem for most games. And if Rodgers is any good at all, they're going to be a tough game for anybody. Niners at the Vikings. We got San Francisco -6, over under at 45.5. I like the Niners in this game. I know Sam Darnold put up some some good numbers against the Giants, but yeah, that Niners defense is still legit. Let's see. Seahawks at Patriots. I don't like anything about that game. Seahawks -3.5. I'm going to stay away. Over-unders at 37.5. Giants at Commanders. Garbage. Don't bet.
Hey, that might end up 0-0.
It could be.
They just keep throwing interceptions.
For sure. Hey, I got to take a leak real quick. We'll I know it's getting late, but I'll be fast, I promise. All right. And where are we at? Chargers, Panthers. There he is. Chargers, Panthers. Are the Panthers going to win any games this year? I think I got you muted.
Teen football team.
So, sorry. I had you muted. Sorry.
They're going to be the first 0-17 team.
You think so?
I think they're worse than the Giants and the Commanders, than the Cardinals. I think that if they play the Cardinals, I don't know if they do, but if they play the Cardinals, it'll be Kyler Murray's awakening.
It'd be the battle of the shortest quarterbacks of all time. You just got to throw Doug Flutie and Drew Brees in there somewhere.
Yeah, except, Kyler Murray's a good athlete, and Bryce Young got away with being shitty because he played for Alabama.
That's, yeah.
Everybody's like, well, he's got the Heisman, he's this great guy, great player, but no, he's not.
Well, and, yeah, the Panthers are just not good. There's nothing. I would not want to be a Carolina Panthers fan, diehard right now. My brother-in-law is, and he hasn't been happy. He was pretty cocky when Cam was doing his thing, and then Von Miller stole his soul in the Super Bowl. It was amazing.
There it is. Walked away as it went by.
Yep. But anyway, yeah, Chargers, Panthers. Chargers at -6.5. We were saying before 6.5's a lot in the NFL, but
I don't like
the Chargers.
Harbaugh, but I think he's a really good coach, and I think he's going to be able to make Justin Herbert look like a good quarterback.
I mean, he did some really, really interesting, good stuff with Colin Kaepernick.
He really did.
So, and Herbert's a better quarterback than Kaepernick, I think.
Especially looking at the arm talent, Herbert is far and away. Kaepernick was great because he could run.
Yep.
But he had so much time on his knees.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The downside of that for Harbaugh, because I'm in agreement with you. I'm not a big Jim Harbaugh fan, but he is a good coach. I like his brother. I like John Harbaugh. I think he's a great coach, and I kind of like John Harbaugh as a person. The Chargers are a terrible franchise. They're
the best worst team.
They really are. They're like every year, you're not ever surprised when they win 12 games, but you're also not ever surprised when they piss away the playoffs or lose in the first round. They're just kind of their game. So we'll see how good of a coach Harbaugh really is, because the Chargers will try to lose it at all costs. Browns at the Jaguars. Who's backing up Deshaun Watson? Do you know? Let's see.
If I can get through my quesadilla. They've got Jameis. That's right. It's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the guy they drafted.
And Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, it might be his year.
That dude can put up some touchdowns for sure. He might put up equal or more interceptions as well, but he's not afraid to throw it around. Yeah, and who they got they got Amari Cooper and David Njoku, and I mean I don't know. I got no faith in Deshaun Watson. I don't really have much faith in Jameis Winston, but I will say that's not a bad pickup to look for in fantasy football in the next coming weeks. Jameis will put up some points, that's for sure. But good chance he'll throw a bunch of interceptions.
Got Jerry Jeudy too.
Oh, that's right. Jerry Jeudy went over there. That guy's a bitch. I can't stand Jerry Jeudy.
I was so excited. He might be one of the best route. I mean, he's up there with Larry Fitzgerald and Devontae Smith in terms of his route running ability. But he plays like Jay Cutler.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like no heart. He's supremely talented, but
he's in it for the paycheck.
Yeah, he's not a team guy by any means, and Cleveland's probably a good place for him. Raiders at the Ravens. Baltimore's -9.5 spread. That seems like a lot, but
it's
the Raiders are bad.
Who's their quarterback?
Gardner Minshew.
Is he starting for him?
He's starting. And I think they got that he was an unknown until he started for the Raiders, like Aiden O'Connell or some shit like that. I don't even know where he was from.
He played at Purdue.
Oh, okay. Huh. Purdue's had some good quarterbacks over the years. That's where Drew Brees was from.
And the Raiders picked up Alexander Madison from the Lions. He's a product.
He was one of the trending running backs on the fantasy wire this week. 9.5's a lot, but the Ravens looked really good. The Raiders didn't really. It's Raiders going to Baltimore, so West Coast to East Coast. That always fucks up the West Coast teams, anyways. So, I'll probably throw that in a teaser. I don't know if I like 9.5 straight up, but throw that in a parlay or a teaser or something.
Raiders
41.
got Bobenmoyer from Northern Colorado.
Oh, yeah?
We had him for a while. The long snapper.
Oh, okay. From UNC, huh?
Mm-hmm.
They've who was that receiver that was at UNC? Fuck. What was his name? He was with the Chargers for a while.
Eckler?
No, because Eckler was at like
Wyoming.
Eckler played for Wyoming?
Well, his brother does.
Oh, okay. Eckler went to like what's that school in Gunnison?
Mesa?
No, it wasn't Mesa. It was like Western State, I think, maybe. So like not even Division III. It was like NAIA or NAIA.
Who is Eckler with now? He left the Chargers, I thought.
Washington, maybe. Yeah, he's not with the Chargers anymore, and I hope he got paid because if I remember right, he went somewhere where he's likely not to do as well. Eckler really benefited from being a good pass catcher out of the backfield and having a good quarterback throw to him. Like he's a stud. Don't get me wrong. I like Eckler. I'm always rooting for the guy, but he probably would have been better served to take a little bit of a pay cut and stay at San Diego as opposed to.
You know who could really use a really solid receiving back? He could live at home with his parents.
In Denver.
He could have come home.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys that should that went to school fairly local that should have been Broncos. Josh Allen being the top of that list, but
I mean, John Elway pisses me off.
I know it. I know it.
Decisions, but that might be the one that pisses me off the most.
He would have been a fan favorite immediately.
Why did we not take him?
It makes no sense. Bradley Chubb's not even on the team anymore.
No, Bradley Chubb wasn't necessarily a bad pick, but
no,
he wasn't the best pick.
No, if you're going
needed a quarterback.
If you're going by best available, I suppose, but even so, like
Josh Allen, I mean, he needed time to develop. You know, maybe we just and clearly he did really well up there in Buffalo. But I mean, if we might have ruined him, you know?
Yeah.
There's always that.
Yeah.
Who knows how good Drew Lock could have been?
That's true.
Go to the Broncos under who is it?
What was his Fangio?
Yeah, Vic Fangio is a god awful head coach.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that guy's a defensive coordinator. He's always been a defensive coordinator, and the only other time they tried him at head coach, he failed there too. And I don't know, like that's what I liked about Wade Phillips. He's just like, I'm not a good head coach, but I'll coach the fuck out of a defense.
He tried it.
Yeah, and it never worked out. And he finally was like, I'll give me the defense. I'm good at that. And he was really fucking good at that. Rams at the Cardinals. That could be a fun game. Especially now that Aaron Donald's retired and LA's defense wasn't anything to write home about. So we got Arizona's -1.5. I kind of like the Rams to win that outright, and over unders at 45.5. I'll take the over.
All day. I mean, I've been waiting for now. I've said his name and now I've lost it. But Murray.
Yeah.
That's not his name, is it?
Kyler Murray?
Yeah, I wanted to say Kyrie, and I was like, that's not right. Yeah, no, I've been waiting for Kyler Murray to really, truly break out. And as when Larry Fitzgerald retired, he needs Marvin Harrison Jr. to step up in a big way.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I don't think Kyler Murray's ever gonna do much, but there's no doubt the dude is talented and he can make shit happen. But just go back and look at old game film of Randy Moss. Just throw it up to Marvin Harrison and he'll make it happen. That dude's got incredible hands. He's built like a Greek god. Just throw it up to him and see what happens. Like, just stop pussyfooting around it. Just feed him the ball. I don't know. It's Arizona. Man, if they had a competent quarterback, they could be really good.
And I mean, Kyler Murray's a very talented quarterback.
Yeah.
They just need to have a competent team behind him.
If the Cardinals had Brock Purdy, you would not be talking about the Niners at the top of that division. I mean, like, they'd be in the picture, but they wouldn't be like solidly on at the top of the NFC West. Like, Brock Purdy's nothing flashy, but that's a competent quarterback. Like, it's a good quarterback.
You know, when people keep talking, oh, he's a game manager, and I'm like, well, not everybody is a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers.
No, but if you look at that,
he's a game manager quarterback. People don't want to hear it, but Tom Brady was a game manager quarterback.
Mm-hmm. But look at that throw, that back shoulder fade that he threw to Juszczyk on Monday night. That was a beautiful throw.
Yeah, it pissed me off that we gave up Juszczyk. I love my fullbacks.
If I was I would never make it as a general manager, but I'd just draft all fullbacks. Just fuck you. We're running it.
No, we are going to run it in your face.
Yeah.
I have this guy. He's listed as a fullback. He's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And what he's going to do is he is going to bury you. You ever see those little Wile E. Coyote cartoons where he ends up with like a little imprint in the ground, 6 feet in? That's you. He will run you over, and your family is going to be like, well, he shouldn't have gotten in the way.
I saw some stat the other day, and I can't remember the exact number of teams, but it was a shockingly high number of teams that are regularly using a fullback nowadays in the NFL, and I fucking love it because I just
especially when you get guys like Juszczyk who can catch.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Christian McCaffrey, you've got Kyle Juszczyk, and you have them both in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you're set.
Yeah, and then that rookie that stepped in for him looked really good, ran the ball hard. Granted, doesn't hurt that you got Trent Williams blocking for you, but yeah, Niners look good, man. They're another team. They're just like there's no reason they shouldn't win. They just got to go out and do it. Steelers at the Broncos. Overs at 36.5. Give me that under. Pittsburgh -3. It's in
over on the safeties.
Whew. I don't know if they're gonna have to start throwing that in there because the Broncos had 2 in the first half.
He had 3. One of them got called back.
That's right. I forgot about the called
3
back one.
First half safeties.
It was 13-9 at one point, which is kind of a normal football score.
But how nothing we got there was a little weird.
Nothing about it was normal. So the Broncos had 2 safeties and 2 field goals, I believe it was. So it was 6-6. Yes, it was 13-10, I guess. And then the Seahawks had a field goal, went for 2, missed, didn't get the field goal. or didn't get the 2 point, and then kicked 2 field goals to make it 13-10. That was garbage football.
It was hard to watch.
It really was. I
regret paying for cable.
I see. I go through. I do pirated games, and it was like you said, it was hard to watch. So I tuned into to different games throughout. I checked back in, but it was tough to watch. Bengals at Chiefs. At the beginning of the season, I thought this was going to be a great game. Now I'm not so sure.
Joe Burrow is a decent quarterback. But is Joe Burrow the guy that everybody thinks he is?
See.
Or was he supported at LSU by maybe the greatest receiving class in SEC history, by, good head coaching that played to his strengths?
Yeah.
And he got lucky his first couple years, but at what point do the great quarterbacks stop being great when they're always hurt?
Mm-hmm. No, I think Joe Burrow has the highest ceiling of just about, except for maybe Mahomes. I think he has the highest ceiling of any current quarterback in the league. But will he hit it? I don't know. I think he's a legitimately, potentially great quarterback. But he can't stay healthy. Most of that's not his fault.
No, I mean, if he didn't take a sack every other play, he'd be fine.
Yeah. And at some point you're gonna have to pay Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, and that leaves not much money to throw around for anybody else. And I don't know. I'm kind of hoping, and it's gonna sound a little bad, but I'm kind of hoping that he kind of peters out, and maybe the Broncos pick him up on the cheap, and then we continue that streak of it's not really a streak, but like do another iteration of Peyton Manning in Denver. It's not
nice. I think Sean Payton would really know how to use them.
I do think Sean Payton's still a good coach. I
just don't agree with what we're doing with Bo Nix. I love Bo Nix. I'm a believer. We needed to get a guy like Jameis Winston. We needed to get a guy like Kirk Cousins.
I think so too.
Who we know is going to be a good mentor. I mean, can we call Ryan Fitzpatrick out of retirement?
Oh, dude, Fitzmagic in Denver would be amazing.
The beard?
Fuck yeah.
Gosh.
I was always a big Fitzmagic fan. He was a great fantasy quarterback too. Most of the year. There was about 4 games where he was not great, but the rest of the year awesome. I don't know what the I'm not sold on Joe Burrow being a long-term good quarterback, but I will say he has the potential. He seems to have the potential to be a really great quarterback. That being said, spreads, Kansas City -6, over and unders at 47.5. It's at Arrowhead. If I didn't know what I knew about last week, I'd be hammering Bengals to cover that. Probably still bet Bengals to cover, but I don't know. Kansas City looked really fucking good. Ooh, this is a disgusting game for Sunday night. Bears at the Texans. Houston -7, over under at 45.5. I'm not betting that game. Houston should cover, but
might be the best defense performance the Bears have put in all season. And that's saying a lot because they scored 24 points.
That's what I'm saying is Texans should cover that, but I don't want to bet any of that until I see what the Bears defense actually is. Like, because if say they see, even if they get one defensive score, you'd be like, all right, they're pretty fucking good. So I don't know. Texans looked really good. The Bears defense looked really good. Caleb Williams looked like shit. I'm not betting that game. Then the Monday night Falcons at the Eagles. Philly -6.5. Over unders at 47.5. I kind of like the Eagles. The Falcons to cover. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a close game, except in the score. I think call it like a 3-point game.
It's going to look close.
Yeah, but I think the Eagles will dominate the game, but not really put it away necessarily. Like it's going to be close points wise, but it'll be like how that late touchdown fucked me on my on the under parlay that I had on Monday night. Like made the game look respectable, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I kind of like the Falcons to cover.
Depending on the game, we might see Michael Penix come in.
Oh yeah, you think does he get another red shirt year if he gets hurt?
Maybe he goes back to college.
Yeah, he ends up at Houston or somewhere. I don't know. I'm glad football's back. MLB race is kind of holding steady. Shohei's still. Shohei Ohtani is still insane. I didn't see if he hit another home run today, but he was at 46, first time ever. So he's still on pace to be 50-50.
He is in a league of his own.
He's a fucking robot. I don't care that he has no personality. I just like watching the dude play. I wish he wasn't playing for the Dodgers, but that's who he plays for, and that dude's so fucking good at baseball. God damn it. Insane. I think that's all I got. You got anything to add to it?
Royals are winning the World Series. Wyoming's winning the college football playoff, and the Broncos are going to the Super Bowl.
All right. Royals, where are they at on the Central?
We are 3.5 games back, but we are at 80 games before the Astros, who swept us. Fuck them. And we are comfortably sitting right behind Baltimore, 2.5 games up for the wild card.
All right.
We're 3.5. We're 3 games back from Baltimore, but I think if we're second place in the wild card, or if we make a run and take down Cleveland, it's wild. If we were in the AL West, we'd be in first by 6 games, or excuse me, 3.5 games.
Isn't that crazy? And
yeah,
Seattle at one point was up 11 games in the West.
11.
And now they're scrapping for a wild card spot. They're they really gonna have to turn it on to make the wild card. It's fucking wild. One thing that hasn't changed is the Rockies have sucked all year.
Hey, we're not the worst team in the league.
Not the worst. No, not even close.
Not even close to the worst.
The White Sox, are they still historically bad?
The White Sox have won 33 games. They have lost 113. The Rockies, well, not much better. We've won 54 games. So, nice. Hey, you know what? And we took down the defending champs. We didn't win the series. Yeah. We won a game against the Rangers.
And
we're only 25 games back from the wild card. This is our year.
Yeah. This is our year. We close out the season with the home series against the Dodgers, which if the Padres turn it on and the Dodgers are slumping, the Rockies have a chance to play spoiler to maybe make LA have to play the first round of the playoffs, which might not work out in our favor because turns out the guys that the at least in baseball, the way it's turned out, the wild card
they're the guys ones have to play. Won.
I know it. So
let them win.
Yeah, so we need to play spoiler for the Padres. Like if the Padres are getting close, nipping at the heels, like maybe they're going to take the division. We need to take that series from the Padres, so they can go into the playoffs and make an actual run and knock the Dodgers off in the second round. That's ideal for the NL West for me, anyways. But Shohei will probably hit more home runs than anybody's ever hit in the postseason this year, because why would he not? That's what he does, apparently.
Home run a game.
Just is there a record that needs broke? Well, fuck, put Shohei on it. He'll do it. Why not? Here was the song that I had for the last I made it after the Thursday night game. We'll close it out on this, but we'll have to keep notes throughout the weekend for anything relevant to throw in for song limit or for song ideas, because we have a 200 character limit.
200 character limit,
but we can make a new song every fucking week that sums up our gambling experience. So anyway, this one is.
Let me tell you real quick. My gambling experience is non-existent because I would go so deep into debt with some really awful people so quick, and it's probably for the best. But I would only bet on Ole Miss, Wyoming, and the Broncos. And I don't know if history has taught us anything, but they tend to kind of be like dads when they go to get cigarettes or some milk. Disappointing.
They just don't come back. Well, on that note, that's kind of how this song turned out too. Because what did I put for the? I said sad, angry rap song about Matt, Jake, and Eric losing money because the Ravens tight ends big ass toe was out of bounds against the Chiefs to start the NFL season. It's a bad betting podcast. Look,
bad betting podcast. You got a kid who's a homer for Wyoming.
I know it.
Ole Miss.
But so it's called Toe Tagged.
Toe Tagged.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hear it.
Matt over here, calculated, smoking stress. Ain't lying, Jake's eyes red, fire in his breath. Whole dreams dying, Eric's fist clenched, night sweats on the highway. Ravens got us dead cause of one fat toe in the driveway. Toe tag, dreams drag, cash snag. 1 inch through us under, now he in a rag. Lucid nightmares of dollars that ain't there. Big toe cursed us, now we just on the cliff of broke, no backbone. Ticker tape dreams crushed in a cyclone. Podcast slipping, listeners are laughing. Bank account balance dipping while we gasping. Chiefs got the dub, but we lost more than pride. Matt's last dime down the drain, no place to hide. Jake screaming at the TV, prayers unanswered. Eric punching walls, too much pressure, gotta handle. Toe tag, dreams drag, cash snag. 1 inch through us under, now we in a rag. Lucid nightmares of dollars that ain't there. Big toe cursed us, now we just stand and stare. Stand on the cliff of broke, no backbone. Ticker tape dreams crushed in a cyclone. Podcast slipping, listeners all
And that's Burning Daylight Sports. NFL Week 2. Thanks for tuning in. Go check us out. We'll have the YouTube channel be up soon. Burning Daylight Sports. Anyway, go check us out. Let us know what you think. And we'll catch you next time.